Why, hello there, Professor Joel, and welcome to another episode of Planet Scooby Reviews. Today we are covering The Ghostly Creep from the Deep, which is the 10th episode of the first season of the new Scooby-Doo movies, and it originally aired on November 25th, 1972. In this episode, the gang become lost, and then they are stuck in a swamp where they soon meet up with the Harlem Globetrotters, who also get their touring bus stuck. From there, they encounter a swamp hermit who is trying to scare them away, along with Redbeard the Ghost and his spooky pirate ship. The Harlem Globetrotters were a popular touring group of basketball players who toured around the world, putting on some incredible shows with some trick shots and what have you during their games. They'd also have plenty of comedic antics during the shows. I remember they'd throw a bucket of water onto the audience, but it would be confetti, or they'd pull down the other team's, gym shorts and they'd show off their, underwear, which was usually pink polka dot underwear. It was just a lot of fun. I went and saw them as a kid, and it was really, really enjoyable. And I think they still do tour. I haven't seen them much in the way of commercials or advertising for it, but I do remember seeing them on the news recently. And if you ever get a chance to check them out, I suggest you do. They put on some really cool trick shots and such for basketball. It's a lot of fun. Prior to the guest spot on Scooby-Doo, the Globetrotters had their own cartoon series that was animated by Hana-Barbera as well, but it was canceled after 2 seasons in 1972. This aired after it was canceled, but some of the footage in this episode was lifted from that series. The Harlem Globetrotters series ran originally from 1970 to 1972, like I said, and basically the Globetrotters would get involved in a local conflict, so there wouldn't be any spookiness involved, but they get caught with some sort of villain, and the Globetrotters would play the villain and his henchmen, and the villain would put everything against the Globetrotters' odds by cheating, and the Globetrotters would always find a way to win and save the day. They also had a dog named Dribbles in that series of their run, but Dribbles does not appear in this episode. And there is also a character named Granny, and Granny is mentioned in this episode, but she does not appear at all. The Globetrotters are also not voiced by themselves, but by voice actors, most notably Meadowlark is voiced by Scatman Crothers, who had some memorable film appearances in The Shining and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. However, I enjoyed him the most in an 80s flick called Zapped. Super cheesy film, very 80s. I don't really recommend you watch it, but I always thought it was corny and enjoyed it. As far as trivia, Redbeard's Ghost is basically Redbeard from Go Away Ghost Ship, except he's all in white. Not exactly the same character, but the same character model. Even the henchmen are the same models, but they just added no color. They just made him white. They made him Redbeard's Ghost, and I think back in Go Away Ghost Ship, he was Redbeard's Ghost as well. So, but there's really no differentiation between the two, other than this one is all in white. And none of the villains are unmasked in this episode either, which is something that rarely happens in the world of Scooby-Doo. The Globetrotters also, they were later parodied on the late 90s cartoon called Futurama. I completely and highly recommend you check out those episodes if you like the Harlem Globetrotters. Very funny stuff there. With this being the first of 3 Globetrotter appearances, will I enjoy this episode and look forward to seeing more of their guest star appearances? Let's find out. The episode begins with the gang lost in a swamp while driving the Mystery Machine. Behind them they see 2 glowing eyes, which turns out to be the Harlem Globetrotters tour bus. The Harlem Globetrotters are lost as well after attempting to take a shortcut, and they are tailing the Mystery Machine as they feel the gang will lead them out.
All Curly has to do is follow that car ahead of us.
Whatever is after us is gaining, Fred.
The gang, on the other hand, feel they are being chased by a monster of some sort, so Freddy races ahead and crashes the Mystery Machine in a swamp. From there, they see a ghostly pirate ship sailing through the swamp.
A ghost pirate ship.
Did I see what I thought I saw?
Gosh, what else can happen?
They're the famous Globetrotters. And even though I saw the ghost pirate ship, I still don't believe it.
The Globetrotters then crash their tour bus into the swamp as well, and now everyone is stuck. Fortunately, they spot an old inn nearby, so everyone goes to investigate. While standing outside, they hear a ghost voice say, "Leave this place." While the gang debate what they should do next, we cut to an elderly hermit man watching from a remote spot.
And me.
Scooby, Shaggy, and Meadowlark go back to their vehicles to get Meadowlark's lucky basketball, while the rest of the gang and the Globetrotters investigate further. Outside, they meet the hermit, who warns them of Redbeard's ghost and tells them to leave.
Redbeard, the pirate's ghost will stop you. Go away. Now!
No ghost pirate story is gonna scare us away.
The inn is boarded up, so one of the Harlem Globetrotters smashes down the front door. As soon as they enter, they hear the cackling of one of the ghost pirates inside.
Okay, who's laughing?
Like that was a ghost laugh if I ever heard one.
That ought to do it.
Unknown to the gang, it's just the hermit up above on the balcony, doing his best to scare them off with his evil laugh. In order to distract themselves of the scary noises, the Harlem Globetrotters start up a basketball game
Basketball? At a time like this?
and perform their neat trick shots about the inn as they warm up. After a bit of fun playing around, the gang decide to get some shut-eye, except for Curly, as he's placed on guard duty for the first watch. Outside, the hermit sees the pirate ship, and on board the ship, we finally see Redbeard and his henchmen.
Redbeard's ghost.
Somebody's at the inn.
Our unwelcome guests are going to get the scare of their lives.
Redbeard sees that there are guests in the house and declares he's going to give them a spooky surprise.
Wake up. Redbeard's ghost is coming.
Redbeard and his two henchmen enter the inn and try and capture the gang and Globetrotters. However, the pirates are outnumbered by the gang and the Globetrotters. As well, the Globetrotters are athletic people, so they really have no issue evading the pirates. Redbeard then threatens to unleash hundreds of ghosts upon the gang using his cursed skull, and the gang and the Globetrotters surrender peacefully.
Give up now, or I'll summon up me full crew of ghost pirates.
You're bluffing, Redbeard.
We quit, just call off your creepy pals.
Before Redbeard can make them walk the plank, a helicopter flies past the inn, and in fear, Redbeard vanishes in a plume of smoke.
Redbeard, listen.
I'll let you meddlers go this time.
Velma spots some oily footprints on how the ghost escaped, and a new mystery is afoot. Scooby goes to investigate the footprint and falls through a trapdoor with Shaggy, and the two of them end up in Redbeard's dinghy below. The gang realize what has happened, and looking outside the window, they see Scooby and Shaggy hiding in Redbeard's dinghy as the pirate and his crew head towards the ghost ship. The gang and the Globetrotters then hop into another motorboat and take chase after the pirate ship. The pirate ship has disappeared, but fortunately Scooby and Shaggy have left a trail of Scooby snacks in the water to lead them the way. It doesn't take too long for Redbeard to discover Scooby and Shaggy on board, and we get a long chase scene aboard the pirate ship. Eventually the gang and the Globetrotters show up, and they spot some oil rigs near Redbeard's pirate ship. The chase scene continues until the gang capture Redbeard and his gang. The old hermit, who we learn is named Swampy Pete, then shows up and shows them that the spirit skull was just a skull that projected ghosts.
It's me, Swampy Pete.
Stop,
In the name of love.
or I'll turn loose my ghostly spirits.
Okay, you have us, Redbeard.
Not those screaming meanies again.
No deals.
Quick, over the side.
What about those, so-called spirits?
They came from this spirit projector. Just a trick.
A police helicopter then shows up, and Swampy Pete removes his hermit getup to reveal himself as Lieutenant Pete Dugan of the Harbor Patrol.
It's a police helicopter I've had circling until I could find Redbeard's hideout.
I'm Lieutenant Pete Duggan of the Harbor Patrol.
And Redbeard wasn't a ghost either?
No, he's a crooked oil man who used the Redbeard legend to keep people away while he tapped those offshore oil wells, loaded up his oil barge, and piped it into those tanker trucks.
Redbeard was a crooked oil bootlegger who used glow paint to make himself look like a spirit. The Globetrotters are worried about missing their game in Miami, so Pete calls a helicopter to get them to the game fast. With another mystery solved, the gang, along with Pete, watch the Globetrotters perform at their game against the Miami Marauders. I give this episode a 6 out of 10. For a 44-minute episode, this one was pretty good. The Globetrotters' basketball antics broke up the monotony, so we don't get long chase scenes with a ton of padding. We get some, really cool basketball fun scenes injected into this, which is different, and it's something that I liked. The Globetrotters were also a lot of fun and were very entertaining. I just wish they spent more time introducing who was who, as I felt aside from Meadowlark and Curly, we didn't really get to know any of the other Globetrotters, and I thought that was just a wasted opportunity. I just wish they spent more time just building up their characters so we got to know who was who. I guess, though, when this originally aired, with the original series airing, people would probably be more familiar with it, so I don't know if that's a fair critique, but as someone who's watching this 50 years later, that's where I stand. We also get a solid villain with the Redbeard Ghost guy. I liked his cool projection skull that made ghouls appear all over. I thought that was just a nice little twist back for 1970. Now it's kind of like, yeah, we know it's projected ghosts, but back then it was kind of fun. And, he had a lot of talking time and whatnot. But, overall, just a 6 out of 10. It just wasn't a great episode. It was kind of middle of the road. The Globetrotters, like I said, were fun, but Redbeard's Ghost, while it was cool having a singular villain, they really didn't do enough with him to make him memorable, and he was just a ripoff of the Ghost we saw 2 years prior from the first season of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Once again, thank you for any likes, subscribes, views, and shares. It's always nice seeing my videos get, increased views every week, and everyone seems to be enjoying the videos, which is great because these episodes take 10 to 12 hours for me to do, so it's very encouraging seeing that. Until next week when I will be covering the Phantom of Country Music Hall, stay spooky.
In the name of love.
Or I'll turn loose my ghostly spirits.
Okay, you have us, Redbeard.
Not those screaming meanies again.
No deals.
Quick, over the side.
Psst, it's me, Swampy Pete.
Wake up. Redbeard's ghost is coming.